Hi everyone, this is Dr. Stan Gross. Welcome to session 3 on breakfast. Now we may have to break this down into 2 sessions because there's a lot to talk about. Number 1, it's breaking a fast. Do we really need to do that? Yeah, in some cases we do. In many cases where blood sugar levels are an imperative, we need to make sure we break that fast, but we need to do it in the most healthy and wise way. Unfortunately, as we look at breakfast, we see that we've kind of gotten into an unhealthy pattern, haven't we? Recent changes in how we look at breakfast may have improved, but we can't seem to agree on everything. I think the biggest thing that we have to concern ourselves with is reducing inflammation and getting the most concentrated nutrition we can out of breakfast. Historically, around the world, breakfasts have been so diverse. In European countries, for instance, Britain as a great example, you might find a plate full of sausage, eggs, blood sausage, or they call black pudding, and beans on toast, like baked beans, Van de Kamp's, Bush's baked beans, things like that. And you may find biscuits, or you may find croissants, or you just may find toasted bread. In German breakfast, you'll find potatoes, you'll find sausages, you'll find potato pancakes. I love potato pancakes. You might find things like red cabbage that has been slightly fermented. Oh, so good. Fermented red onions. All this for breakfast. I remember my first breakfast when I went to the Philippines. I was staying at a fairly reasonable hotel. Over there are 4-star hotels like $40, $45 a night. And it was nice, it was very comfortable, a nice view of Manila. And breakfast was part of the service, part of the fee. And they brought it to your room, and I got fresh coffee, which was very good, by the way, and a plate that had at least a cup and a half of rice. It's Asian, right? You expect that. With 2 sardines draped over the top, and an over-easy egg laid over the top of that, with a little sauce on the side, which I found out later was shrimp sauce. And I thought, I don't know. But hey, when in Rome, right? Go ahead and try it. So I did. It was delicious. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every bit of it. And along with it was a bowl of freshly cut fruit. And I mean freshly cut fruit. Papaya, mango, banana so sweet it hurt your teeth. Pineapple that was so good. We have pineapple here in the United States that's okay. Over there, oh my goodness. What a difference. And that was breakfast. If you go to China, when I've gone to China and had breakfast, you get a choice. They're used to having Westerners or Western taste in most of their restaurants, especially in the hotels. And you can get Western style breakfast, their form of it. Eggs, sausage, potatoes, that type of thing. But if you go with traditional Chinese, you're going to get, what a variety, but lots of rice and lots of eggs of different sort. That seems to be a common theme, by the way, in breakfasts around the world, is eggs. We're going to get into why that's pretty important and why it's probably not a bad choice. except for those who happen to be lacto-ovo vegetarian. And we're going to include the vegans in this. You're going to get in on it too. Breakfast was traditionally broken up a little bit in the mid-1800s to the late 1800s. In Battle Creek, Michigan, a Dr. Kellogg came along. He was a member of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he introduced grain cereals. And before then we had oatmeal. They called it porridge. Now you could have grain porridge or you could have pea porridge. Remember the rhyme, pea porridge hot, pea porridge cold, pea porridge in the pot 9 days old. That came from the Depression. So porridge was pretty common and still very common around the world, from oats or barley, some type of grain, or rice porridge, kanshi. So he introduced what we see today as cornflakes. Actually, he and his brother kind of collaborated on that, not really. Part of the idea was to introduce bland foods to decrease the sexual appetite of young men. I don't know if it worked. Maybe by inducing type 2 diabetes it worked, but not for the sake of cornflakes. And along with that, one of his patients later became his competitors, C.W. Post, who introduced Post Toasties. Now, the difference was the way they were made. And C.W. Post toasted his grains before he made them into flakes, thus the name. Did he do us any favors? Well, here's the problem. They were bland. So to make them edible, what did we add? Sugar. Lots and lots and lots of sugar. So today if you walk down the cereal aisles, you can see more cereals than you can possibly imagine. Most of which are sweetened with lots of sugar, artificial colors, artificial flavors. And there's been a recent movement to change all that. But we still have that sweet tooth in the morning, don't we? We like our donuts, our sweet rolls, our pancakes with syrup. And most of the time we don't use maple syrup, we use the fake stuff, which is many times high fructose corn syrup. Not good. Waffles, just pancakes with dimples, right? Can hold more syrup and butter. Nothing against butter, but usually we have a little bit too much when we have that type of meal in front of us. Then we might have eggs Benedict served on English muffins with Canadian bacon, eggs that are typically poached. That's a good idea. And then either bechamel or some type of cheesy white sauce over the top, hollandaise. You know, carbohydrates. You see what we're doing? We're loading our day up with carbs, and mainly refined carbohydrates. We want to try to avoid that these days because we're seeing type 2 diabetes on the rise. And that needn't be that way. We do it to ourselves. Most type 2 diabetes is a self-inflicted wound. It's a result of lifestyle and dietary habits. And many, many people can reverse type 2 diabetes just by changing their diet and sticking with it. So we're going to start you on that trail. We want to make breakfast as anti-inflammatory and as healthy as possible. And we want to kind of walk away from some of the traditions that introduce highly refined carbohydrates. And we're going to do that trying to satisfy as many dietary choices as there are out there. So we'll help the carnivores, and we'll help the vegans, and we'll help everybody in between. And we'll introduce different types of breakfasts that would make you feel full and happy and satisfied and very, very healthy. This is an introductory presentation to breakfast because I think it's important. Every meal is important, but somehow we messed up breakfast pretty badly. So let's get that straightened out, huh? I think it's a good thing for all of us. We're going to have fun with this. I might even show you some cooking with this. Would you like that? Some have asked for it. They want me to do a cookbook, but I need a lot of help to do a cookbook. That is quite involved, especially doing it the way I want to do it. Because I want you to be able to not only see the food and follow the recipe, but tell you what nutrients are in it and why it's important. I want us to look at food in general as medicine. I want us to see food as something that keeps us alive, sustained, healthy, stronger, more vital. I think if we look at it that way, we're going to be healthier in the long run. It's not about living longer, it's about living better. It's about quality, not quantity. And that's what I want for you, for all of you. So no matter where you live, because I'm getting feedback from 4 different countries now on the things that we're producing. And we'll address it. We'll address it based upon your culture, the food you typically take in for breakfast, and how we might improve on that to make it better for you, better for your health, better for your energy, better for your future. I'll talk to you real soon. We're going to have some fun with this, okay? Come along for the journey. Talk with you later. Bye-bye.